to the Insight Room, the space where real stories, bold truths, and fresh perspectives meet. Here we dive deeper, think louder, and grow wiser. Whether it's life, love, business, mindset, there's no limit to our topics. Today, we are here with amazing guests. On my left-hand side is our beautiful guest, Miss Miriam Ohams, Mimi the Realty, aka Africa Landlady of Port Harcourt City. Yeah. And with me is
Miss Opara Sandra, aka Odogula Lady of PH One and Only.
You guys are welcome.
Thank you so much.
So today we'll be talking about types of land and the different investment strategies that work well in the real estate market. So I'll start with you, Miss Miriam. What are the types of lands we have in the real estate market?
Okay, we have various types of land. So I will start with agricultural land.
Okay.
Agricultural land is basically for farming. Also have residential land. That one is for housing. We also have commercial lands. Commercial lands are for business purpose. And also have light commercial. Light commercial also falls into residential lands. They are properties that does not affect the lives of the residents in that particular area. So something like church, school, shopping mall falls under light commercial. We also have industrial lands. Industrial lands are for manufacturing.
Okay.
Also have, let me say, we also have other various kind of lands. We also have recreational lands for parks. Also have vacant lands. Vacant lands are the undeveloped lands, and that's where it brings us to land banking. So some persons will be asking, what is land banking?
Yeah.
Land banking simply means sourcing out for properties, for lands in strategic locations that are undeveloped, holding them for a longer period. When they appreciate, you can decide to develop them or you can decide to resell them. So vacant lands falls under land banking.
So what you mean here is the vacant land, they are more like vacant land.
Virgin lands, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they are undeveloped areas. So those kind of lands are suitable for land banking.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. All right, Miss Sandra, what are the investment strategies that work well in the real estate market?
There are various investment strategies that can work in the real estate market. So we have the buy and hold, where people who want to venture into real estate can buy large size of lands and then they hold it over time, either to resell or to develop it. Now we also have the fix and flip or buy and flip, where you buy, these are near developed now. If you go to a place that you see development is moving towards, maybe people are still living there, there are commercial structures there that can service the needs of people around there. And then you buy properties there. When you buy, you fix them, you build. Maybe you can do detached, you can do residential, semi-detached, detached duplex, and standalone duplexes, any kind of residential, and then you put it out for rent or you put it out for sale. Now you can also do buy and fix and sell in places like school areas where you need to service the need of other persons. So you see a dilapidated building and then you just buy it off. You buy, you fix it, renovate it, and then you sell it off. That's another kind of real estate investment. And then we have total commercial, where you're sourcing out for lands in prime locations and then you want to create something that also services the need. Remember, in real estate, it's all about making profit and then servicing the needs of people around the area. So when you buy properties like this in along the road, especially places that are already developed, and these are high value properties, when you buy them, you can erect structures that serve commercial purposes, gas stations, filling stations, supermarkets, just because you want it to be like a center of attraction. So you source for those kind of lands and then you buy from there. Then we also have a real estate investment where you can merge with other persons and then buy up your property.
Merge with other persons
like
like
source for
other investors.
sponsors, other investors, people that want
Okay.
to go into the same kind of
Business.
real estate idea you have. And then you go to another location. Now, these ones are totally prime locations. You're searching now for prime location. You're not going to buy in large quantity because mostly it's rare to see large piece of lands laying about
Right.
in open
Patience.
places. So if we were going to do large piece of land, you have to go back to buy and hold and resell for
Okay.
later, maybe a longer period of time. But this type of lands now, you have to buy them in open places and they cost more. And then when
Okay.
you erect on them and you sell or you rent out, it costs more also because the money to fix it,
Yeah.
that's why you need a partner for this kind of real estate investment because the money to fix it is bigger. One person,
Are you selling them in carcass
if
or
you want
what?
to sell in carcass, that's fine. But most times, the profit comes when you are done with the
Okay.
finishing. You finish the whole process and then you put it out to let. So people rent. So it's more like you're splitting. So
Don't you think selling it over carcass helps you get more money when it comes to developing the particular structure?
now some persons want to build it to their taste, complete it to
Okay.
their taste, and then just sell it out.
Mm.
Why some persons will want this building it to carcass level and then selling it out. But then I feel like in real estate, where the money is when you build and you finish to your taste.
Okay.
Whoever wants to buy it sees through your eyes because it was your design
Okay.
that the person saw that attracted the person to the property and then the person wants to buy. So it gives you more money. You calculate the cost of the property, the cost
And
of
add your profits.
yeah, and that's how you make large profit. So you see a property you bought for 20 million, maybe a piece of land you bought for 20 million, and then you finish erecting a structure on it, and then you're selling it off for 200 million or 180 million.
Okay.
You've made your profit. That's a good profit. That's
So
a
you
very good
mentioned
investment.
buy and hold. Does it relate to the land banking she talked about?
Yes, it's similar to
Okay.
land banking. Very, very similar to land banking.
Okay. Can you throw more light on it?
So buy and hold means you buy a property and this property is not, you know that it's not ready. It's more like you're buying a
Okay.
fruit. This fruit is not ripe for you to consume.
The virgin land
Yes,
you're talking
virgin
about.
land. And now you're going to a location where you are foreseeing that people are moving towards that direction, but if they are not already there.
Okay.
So you buy it and then you buy it when it's cheap and then you hold it for a long period of time. Now, in this process of holding, you're calculating the appreciation level of the
Okay.
property. So once you notice that the property has appreciated and people have moved there, it has a time frame, but then it takes longer time. So if you're buying to hold, you can hold for 5 years and above.
So what's the certainty that within that time frame it's going to develop?
Now, there's one thing about real estate. Lands will not just lay about like that. Development will definitely
It's all about its power of its strategic location. In real estate, location matters because there are places you can acquire properties. You come back the next 2, 3, 4, even 10 years time, those lands will not appreciate because there's no amenities or infrastructures around those areas that's going to make that land appreciate. So when you're going to land banking, make sure you source out for prime locations because prime locations can give you a return on investment. Do you understand? So you don't just buy properties anywhere. Even if I'm talking to a prospect or I'm talking to a first-time buyer, I always source out for prime locations. Yeah.
And
That's
so you
amazing.
can take the property to somewhere that you perceive something is coming to, like towards the airport.
Okay.
Most times people underplay those areas. They say, okay, it's just the airport that is meant to be there. No, there are other structures that can be at the airport. And then when you buy lands there, initially it might not look like, oh, there's
Yeah.
something happening here. But then it will never be like that. And the price will never be the
Be the
same.
same.
Yeah.
It's
So
always
that's
appreciated.
When you make good money in real estate is when you source out for these properties when they are still cheap. Yeah. So if you check the likes of Dr. Lumi, they bought properties back then in the 90s. But right now they are making billions in real estate. So if this property they tell you, 1995, I bought this property for you won't
1,500.
even believe.
Wow. So I can actually use 300,000, 500,000 naira to buy a land
And hold it,
and
yes.
hold it for like 5, 10 years
Yeah.
and I'll be selling it good money.
Yeah.
That's good. Land investment has a lot of return on investment. That's what our guests are here to tell us. So, I've been wondering when it comes to buying land and buying houses, like I buy land now and I build, and buying houses, already built house. What's your take on it? Like, which is better? Is it best to buy land and build what I want to build, or just see what I want as a house and buy?
Different people have their choices.
Okay.
Everybody have what works for them. Some persons want to build to their taste. They feel like nobody understands their need.
Okay.
So when you're building a house, it's more about your own need. What are the kind of space I want in my house? I want my pantry to be like this. I want
Okay.
my room to be like this. So what you want. Now, some persons also like finished houses. Maybe they just see it, oh, it's all good, and then I don't want the stress.
Stress.
Most persons buy houses because they don't want the stress of having to deal with engineers, having to deal with the
Yeah.
construction company. They don't want
Okay.
any stress, any
And the
form of
time
stress.
frame
And
too.
then the time frame, they
Yeah.
just have the money ready, they buy, and then they want to move in. But then some persons like it to their taste. So they want to see it from the start to the finish. They want it to be designed according to
Okay.
how they feel like it should be.
Some persons they feel finished houses are very expensive than when they
Okay.
buy a land. So sometimes when you see a house that is put up for 300 million naira, you feel like this house does not worth it. If I should use my money to build this house, I'm not going to even spend up to that amount. And some persons they have this mentality that they don't even know how they started the house, like the foundation of the house. So some
Okay.
persons they feel before laying a foundation, they have to go through some processes. You know,
Okay.
Nigerians and their
Yeah,
mentality.
yeah, yeah.
So they prefer buying just a mere land and they build what they want.
Do you think those houses that we tend to buy instead of buying lands and building, do you think they use good materials too?
That's another
That,
problem. So
yeah.
that's the fear most persons have recently. With the ratio of collapsed buildings,
Yes, yes.
people don't want other persons to build for them because they don't trust the materials. So if I'm building from start, I trust my constructors, I trust my engineers, and I will always be there to monitor. So
Okay.
if this is a product I did not pay for, or maybe I'm paying for a product and you charge me very high, and I come and meet the product is substandard, it
Yeah.
doesn't meet the taste I want, I can easily reject. But when I don't know about it, I can just move in. And then we have issues of flooding.
Yeah.
You build on a waterlog. The sand field level is not okay. And then the house is so beautiful. Maybe I buy it when it's the dry season, and then I move into it during the rainy season. I'm swimming in the house. So people have these issues,
Yeah.
and so everybody wants what makes them feel comfortable. For me personally, my take is I would want to buy the land and see from the start to the finish.
Okay.
So I'm not in the
So what if the person is not in town? Like people in the diaspora?
people in diaspora. That's why it works for them. This one
Okay.
can work for them now.
Most of them they feel sorry, like the diaspora clients, most of them they feel like if they start buying land and start building, maybe trusting a brother or a sister to help them go through this process, they might cheat them, or maybe they might I've heard stories like, okay, I gave my brother money to build houses for me, and I came back after 5 years. I'm seeing just a mainland. This is old, yeah. So sometimes they just look for a good real estate company. They just buy this house and they hold the keys of the house for them. When they are back to Nigeria, they issue them the key and sign. That's all. So to me, I feel most persons prefer built houses to avoid stories that touches. Yeah.
But then for me, I feel like people that prefer built houses are people that are not around, because I don't see a reason why I'm present. I can
Yeah.
monitor what's happening, and I'm not there to monitor it.
Well, it depends on the urgency. Sometimes some persons want to just move in. Oh, I saw this house is beautiful. I have the money. Instead of going through the process of building a house 6 months, 1 year,
And,
why
that, and,
not
and,
just
and then there are persons like that that also get into trouble. You just buy the house, you don't know
you don't
anything
do
about it.
their
There are
due
no
diligence?
due diligence on the house, and then it's just because you like the house and you have the money, and then you just pay for it. And then in like after 2 years of enjoying the house, you have bigger issues more than the money you even used to buy the house. And sometimes those houses are demolished. Sometimes those houses are retrieved. You have to start fighting with the initial owner, the rightful owner of the house. Or maybe you have issues where the land is on a government
Oh,
proposed
Area.
site.
Yeah, cases
And
like
so
that
you
in
lose
Lagos
the property
happens
entirely.
regularly. I think as of last 2 months, I saw a video of some particular estates in Lagos where they were bringing down
Yes,
their
I saw
structures.
that too.
And I even made my findings and I heard those areas falls into government acquisitions area. And most
Oh,
persons that bought those areas, they bought a fully built houses. And now the issue is that
okay.
they didn't even conduct due diligence in this property. Maybe some of them, they are like, oh, I don't want to stress myself. I don't want to just go through the process of buying land. Let me just
Okay.
buy these houses. And they don't even know, some of them, they are first time buyers. They don't even know there are procedures you
Procedures.
go through when acquiring property. You even have to go to the Ministry of Land and Housing to chart these properties. You even have to go to the locals to ask questions about those areas before you go ahead to buy this property.
Yeah, that's
So
why that's
yeah,
why that's why for me my take is buy the land. Because if I buy the land, from the
Okay.
time I start building, if there's any problem, people
yeah,
around will tell you,
Tell you.
yeah,
oh, this land,
Will
who
people
is
really
it?
tell
People
you?
will have they will somebody
yeah,
will tell you,
Okay.
and then you know how to retrace your step, whether to go back to the person that sold the land to you
To
when
you.
you've not gone far.
uh,
But when you buy a house, like that's a total disaster
Okay.
sometimes. I'm not saying it's entirely bad, but
Yeah.
for me, my take is buy,
okay, but
build
there's
from
something
start
I
to
saw
finish.
online that was last 2 weeks. A guy in Warri, he was crying that he bought a property like a
Land.
Maryland,
Yeah.
built his house. He has been staying there for a year plus with his father. And the next thing, they are telling him that place is government proposed site. So cases like that can happen. They can actually allow you to finish building these houses, and
Before
after
they.
like 1 year, 2 years, they
Yeah.
can say, ah,
So
this
then you leave
area.
everything entirely for them.
Yes, they even have to bring down the guy's house in legal. No, sorry, that's worry.
Worry.
In worry, yes. The guy was crying online, making videos and telling them that he went through so much processes in getting this land. Like he worked his ass out to get this property, and this is
This is
yeah,
also where due diligence comes in.
Comes in.
Whether buying a land, whether buying a house, you have to do proper due diligence. So if that land, if you had done proper due diligence, maybe going to customary court to know this
Okay.
land, charting the land, to know where this property falls on, what's place, what's the
If
plan
it's
for
a
the
government.
government on this area.
Okay.
Because every area have the plan the government has for it.
yeah,
In Port Harcourt now, we
Yeah.
have areas where the government have
Has
plans,
plans.
specific plans, and you cannot encroach in that land. Even if people want to sell it behind, if you go to the customary court or you go and chat that land to show you the actual purpose for which that land
Okay.
was kept.
So from what I've heard so far, I heard that all land belong to the government. How true is that?
Yes, all lands belong to the government because they have the liberty to do whatever they want to do that betters the state.
Okay.
So, but then we have in the pre-colonial era, we have when people had lands, they owned lands courtesy of farming.
Okay.
So when a particular family settles on a particular piece of land, they own it by virtue of farming,
Okay.
long-term farming on the land. So nobody comes to drag the space and
Yeah.
they already inherit it. But then the land, all lands belong to the government. It's already in the constitution.
Yeah.
So, but then when the government owns a property, they are giving it to you, whether for any document, they are only giving it to you for a period of 99 years.
Okay.
So, but then we all know that after 99 years, there's not been any history like regular
Okay.
occurrence of government coming to retrieve
Retrieve
it.
it.
But then it's just so that everybody has it in their mind that you are
Mindset.
not in total custody of this property. It belongs
Okay.
to the government. So even if you're buying, you have a court backing,
Yeah.
you have your C of O, your deed of convey, and whatever document that backs up the land, just know that the government has this property. But then they have not penned down any proposed thing
Okay.
for that place.
And
But
will they in future?
most of the times, whatever the government wants to do, like I said, every area have what purpose that it's going to serve. From the time the state was created, they have the amenities they want to bring in.
So
And as
when
time goes
when
on,
there's a new government, don't
that
you think
changes
that
the
there
plan.
will be a change?
That
Well,
changes the
let me
plan.
use- let me- okay.
Sometimes your documents can also help.
Okay.
So when you have documents like the C of O, and the government wants to take over that area, that C of O gives you an edge where the government says,
Compensation.
okay, because you did not know this from the start, you were ignorant, and we did not put it out there from the time you charted this property. We just,
That we
this is
have
a
a
new
project,
development.
yeah.
So we're going to compensate you with this. So that's fair. At least you have something to be compensated for than just being kicked
Yeah.
out of
Without
the
a
property.
fallback.
Yeah,
So
without
let me add to what she said. Like in Port Harcourt River State, we have something called the Greater Port Harcourt Union. The Greater Port Harcourt Union already have a plan for about 6 states.
Okay.
Sorry, six
Local government.
local government areas. Like part of Obiapo falls into the 6 local governments.
Okay.
So these areas now, there's already a plan for it. Like we saw the Ring Road project that
Yes.
Wike was actually doing. those areas, there was already a plan because the Greater Port Harcourt Authority was formed by Amici when he was a seat. So there was already a plan for the flyovers and everything. So when the other governor after Amici came in, he started with
Waiting with that plan.
the plans of the what's it called, the flyover.
Okay.
So some persons' property that was brought down there, like some persons, their properties were affected.
Yes.
There was already a plan for it that these areas they're going to
So
demolish.
no compensation.
There was compensation.
Okay.
Yes, there was compensation because now that property was already there when they created the plan. But if you buy a property when the plan was already existing, it's an issue. The government will not compensate you. So that's why for some areas like Eche local government falls into the Greater Port Harcourt Union. If you're buying properties around those areas, you need to chart the property up to make sure that that area you're buying does not fall into the Greater Port Harcourt Union plan.
Okay.
Even if you buy areas that fall into the Greater Port Harcourt Union plan, the government will not compensate in the long run if they want to make use of that space.
Okay.
So why they compensated the other persons that their properties were affected was their properties was already in existence
Before the plan came in.
was created.
Okay.
Do you understand? So that's it.
So this is a wake-up call for everyone who wants to purchase land or houses. Make sure you do your findings very well. Up next, we'll be talking about due diligence in proper. Welcome back, guys. Let's dive right back into our previous conversation. So you've been mentioning due diligence, due diligence, due diligence. What's it all about? What does it entail?
Okay, due diligence basically means the steps in which the company
Okay.
or an individual that wants to acquire property needs
Yes.
to undergo before purchasing these properties.
Okay.
So as a real estate company, there are steps to go through, like going to the locals to ask questions about the said properties to know if the property has any community crisis or clashes rather. Then also going to customary courts or writing to customary courts to know if this property has any undergoing court disputes that you're not aware of. There are some properties you go ahead to buy. There are people who are there to sell these properties to you, but you don't even know that this property already has a court dispute going on. You know, court dispute can go for a very long time. It can stay for like 10 years. You don't even know. And people are there to sell you this property. At the long run, you start having issues with the rightful owner. That's where you start hearing things like, didn't you know that it's Mr. Madi that owns this property, but this property has a court case still going on? You get. You can also go to what's it called, Ministry of Land and Housing to chart this property. This part is very, very, very important. According to the Land Use Act, all lands belong to the government, and they can make use of the land
At any time.
Yeah. But there are areas the government has set aside for community development. There are areas the government has set aside for individuals. So as a real estate company or as an individual that want to acquire any property, even if you're buying this property from a friend or maybe from a family member, make sure you go to Ministry of Land and Housing to chart this property to make sure this land is free from government acquisition side. So you don't have issues with the government at the long run. Yeah, so these are procedures you go through when acquiring properties.
Okay. So, Miss Sandra, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, due diligence is something that it's a very comprehensive process that anybody that wants to go into real estate or investment should not underplay because it will help you make informed decisions and then it will help you avoid future problems, like she had said, when you buy a property and then in the next 2 years you're hearing that this property was seized by the government. We're not supposed to, go into it. There are some buildings where they are marked. Some buildings are marked. So issues like that, you see stop work, you see government property, do not encroach. So these are the issues associated when you don't do due diligence on any property or any investment concerning real estate that you want to engage in or you want to go into.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Miriam, Miss Sandra. We've heard all they've said. Your professionals have enlightened us on what to do when it comes to acquiring properties. Please ensure that you do your due diligence before you purchase any land or buy any house. Okay, guys, we've come to the end of this amazing episode, and Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Inside Room. And this particular episode is proudly sponsored by Ulan Homes, your real estate company that you need to invest with. Thank you and God bless you.